Let's be honest. Some foods look like they belong in a science lab rather than on a dinner plate. But if we've learned anything from part 1, it's this. Never judge a dish by its appearance, because behind every you might be a wow. From ancient delicacies to fermented miracles, today we're diving into another round of dishes that look horrifying, but taste absolutely heavenly. Grab your fork, your courage, and maybe a clothespin for your nose, because it's time for top 5 foods that taste way better than they look, right here on History of Food. We're starting strong, or should I say pungent, with the century egg, a Chinese delicacy that resembles something unearthed from a tomb. Despite the name, it's not actually 1,000 years old, more like a few months. The egg is preserved in a mix of clay, ash, and salt until the white turns translucent black and the yolk takes on a greenish-gray color. And yes, the smell is intense. Some describe it as sulfur mixed with old cheese. But one bite changes everything. The texture is smooth and custard-like, and the flavor? A rich umami bomb. Savory, slightly sweet, and deeply satisfying. What's wild is that this isn't some modern culinary dare. Century eggs have been around for hundreds of years, served with rice, tofu, or pickled ginger. Once you get past the shock factor, you'll understand why it's a comfort food in Chinese culture. Interestingly, century eggs became a viral sensation a few years ago. Not because of their taste, but because people online dared each other to eat them. Little did they know, they were challenging themselves into trying one of Asia's oldest gourmet delicacies. The internet may have gagged, but the egg had the last laugh. Fun fact, early Westerners once called them horse urine eggs, assuming that's how they got their color. Spoiler alert, that's completely false. Next, we're heading to the UK and Ireland for black pudding. And no, it's not dessert. It's a sausage made from pork blood, oatmeal, and fat. It looks like something you'd find in a medieval dungeon, but the taste is rich, savory, and earthy, kind of like bacon's darker, moodier cousin. It's a breakfast classic, often paired with eggs, beans, and toast. When fried to a crisp on the outside and tender inside, it's the perfect balance of texture and flavor. It's not for the faint of heart, but those who try it often become lifelong fans. Surprisingly, some nutritionists now call black pudding a superfood because it's packed with iron and protein. That's right. The food you were scared of as a kid might actually be better for you than your kale smoothie. Sometimes history knows what it's doing. Fun fact, nearly every culture has its own version of blood sausage. Spain's morcilla, France's boudin noir, and Korea's sundae. It's global proof that humanity really hates wasting anything edible. At number 3, we have escargot, the French dish that turns your garden's biggest pest into gourmet cuisine. To the untrained eye, it looks questionable. Picture slimy shells, melted butter, and mysterious green flecks. But in France, it's a delicacy served at weddings, holidays, and fancy restaurants. Once you try it, you'll get it. The snails are tender and slightly chewy, soaking up every bit of garlicky butter. It's indulgent, rich, and comforting, the culinary equivalent of a velvet robe. Believe it or not, escargot has ancient roots. The Romans used to farm snails for banquets, fattening them with milk and herbs before serving them to elite guests. So next time someone calls your dinner gross, just tell them you're dining like an emperor. Fun fact. France consumes around 40,000 tons of snails every year. Somewhere out there, a Parisian chef is turning your backyard problem into a Michelin star dish. Coming in hot, literally, is kimchi, Korea's spicy, fermented wonder. At first glance, it looks like a pile of wilted cabbage in red lava, and the smell is assertive. But one bite and you're hooked. It's spicy, tangy, and bursting with umami. Every crunch pack flavor layers you didn't even know existed. Kimchi isn't just a side dish, it's a way of life. It's been a staple in Korean households for thousands of years, eaten with rice, noodles, soup, or straight from the jar. It's also packed with probiotics and nutrients, making it both delicious and good for you. In Korea, kimchi making is a cultural event called kimjang, where families gather in late autumn to prepare massive batches for winter. It's more than just preserving food, it's preserving community and tradition. Think of it as the world's spiciest family reunion. Fun fact: there's an actual kimchi museum in Seoul, featuring over 100 varieties of the dish. Because when a food smells that strong, it deserves its own museum. Finally, taking the #1 spot is Stinky Tofu, the undisputed king of foods that smell worse than they taste. Found in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and parts of China, it's tofu fermented for weeks, sometimes months, in a brine of vegetables, milk, and herbs. When it's frying in the street markets, you can smell it from a block away. It's often described as rotting garbage or old gym socks, but the flavor? Crispy, rich, and deeply savory, with an addictive funk that keeps locals lining up for more. The secret to great stinky tofu lies in its fermentation time. Vendors guard their recipes like family treasures, passing them down through generations. Some brines are decades old, continuously topped up and never fully replaced. The smell might make you hesitate, but the flavor will make you a believer. Fun fact: in Taiwan, some food streets are nicknamed Stinky Alleys because of this dish. Locals proudly say, "The worse it smells, the better it tastes." You've got to respect that confidence. So, what do all these foods have in common? They remind us that taste and beauty don't always go hand in hand. From fermented cabbage to black pudding, the world's most intimidating foods often turn out to be the most unforgettable. We humans are wired to avoid things that look weird. It's a survival instinct. But sometimes, the best culinary adventures happen when you ignore your instincts and take that first bite anyway. The line between disgusting and delicious is a lot thinner than we think. From century eggs to stinky tofu, these dishes prove that flavor doesn't care about appearances. They've survived centuries of skepticism to earn a place at tables around the world. And if you thought this list was wild, wait for part 3, where we'll uncover even more ugly but delicious foods that will challenge what you think you know about taste. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and maybe keep some breath mints handy. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.